Hey, everybody. Rabbi Randy here with you on our nightly Omer count video. Thinking a little bit right now about songs and stories. Certainly, two really important aspects of Passover. And the notion about how inspiring our stories can be and how incredibly impactful this story is, the Passover story, the story from the book of Exodus, the one that takes us from slavery to freedom, the one that we tell around our Seder tables. And, it's really wonderful to me that that story hasn't only been for us, for the Jewish people all these years. Many people that speak many languages, that look differently than we do, um, that come from different religions and traditions and cultures and walks of life, also have taken inspiration from this story that we use as our Passover story. And one example is those people who in our country, not terribly long ago, who were slaves, not in the land of Egypt and not thousands of years ago, but in the American South, um, um, Africans who were brought to this country against their will and sold as slaves. Um, there are an incredible trove of stories and preaching and songs from the slaves that reference Moses and the Exodus. Of course, famously, Harriet Tubman was called the Black Moses. And there are sermons that are really amazing that really sort of dig deep into the Exodus story to try to give hope to to the slaves, the Underground Railroad being sort of an example of an exodus, a movement to freedom, and those metaphors were often used. And of course, there are Jews of color for whom both stories of slavery are their stories, the story that we tell from the Torah and also the shameful um, history of Africans being sold as slaves in America. So, in that spirit, what is fascinating to me is that, a generation or so later, when the civil rights movement was happening, and there was a fight against, American apartheid, against Jim Crow, many Jewish families adopted some of those civil rights songs and messages for their seders, just like 100 years before, um, African American slaves took the Jewish story, the Hebrew Bible story, um, so that they could derive hope from it. And many Jews then derived hope from those civil rights songs and those civil rights stories. Songs like "Oh Freedom" come to mind readily, and there's others. So I've always loved that notion of sharing and weaving our stories together and using the best of our cultures to help us, to lift each other up. So in that mode, I'm always on the search for songs that aren't necessarily Jewish songs or Passover songs, but that kind of fit nicely in Passover themes, and then introduce, like one of those songs each year into our Seder. Oftentimes they're freedom songs, obviously, a huge part of the Passover story. The second part, Ata b'nei Charin, now we're free. But this time I couldn't get past a song that actually is more about the first part of the Passover story, Avadim Hayinu, we were slaves. It's a song about degradation. It's a song about people who are vulnerable and victims and treated like outsiders, despised by many in society, by powerful people in society. And it felt like a fitting song for this year's Passover. Um, because even though this song was written in 1996, sadly, those kinds of times have returned. the times that the song is referring to, where more and more and more people are being outcast and treated like others, and shut out, and going through incredibly hard and frightening times. And the song is called "The Ghost of Tom Joad." It's by one of my favorite artists, no surprise, Bruce Springsteen. And the song itself comes from another American artist who wrote about these kind of things, John Steinbeck, The Grapes of Wrath. Tom Joad was a character in The Grapes of Wrath, really the central character. And the third verse of the song really kind of derives itself directly from the book, where Tom Joad is about to go on the run. He needs to disappear. And his mom says, "Well, how will I find you?" And Tom Joad answers and says, "Whenever there's oppression, whenever there's a freedom struggle, whenever somebody is needy, that's where I'll be. Just look in those people's eyes, those people who are suffering, and you'll see me." So I'm going to sing you the song. Hope you like it. Hope it gives you some extra Passover meaning. And then we'll count the Omer together for tomorrow's, after the sunset, tomorrow's count. This is the ghost of Tom Joad. Man walking around the railroad tracks, going somewhere and he ain't coming back. Highway patrol chopper coming up over the ridge. Hot soup on a campfire under the bridge. Shelter line stretching around the corner. Welcome to the New World Order. People sleeping in their cars in the Southwest. No home, no job, no peace, no rest. The highway is alive tonight, but no one's kidding no one about where it goes. I'm sitting down here in the campfire light, searching for the ghost of Tom Joad. Man pulls a Bible out of the sleeping bag, lights up a butt, takes a drag, thinking about when the last will be first and the first will be last. In a cardboard box neath the underpass, he's got a one-way ticket to the promised land. He's got a hole in his belly and a gun in his hand, sleeping on a pillow of solid rock, bathing in the city's aqueduct. Yeah, the highway is alive tonight, but everyone knows where it's gonna go. I'm sitting down here in the campfire light, waiting on the ghost of Tom Joad. Tom says, "Mom, whenever you see a cop beating a guy, whenever a hungry newborn baby cries, when there's a fight against the blood, hatred in the air, look for me, Ma, I'll be there. Wherever someone's fighting for a place to stand, or a decent job or a helping hand, where there's someone struggling to be free, look in their eyes, Ma, you'll see me. Yeah, the highway is alive tonight, and no one's kidding no one about where it goes. I'm sitting down here in the campfire light, with the ghost of old Tom Joad. The highway is alive tonight, oh, and everyone knows where it's gonna go. I'm sitting down here in the campfire light, with the ghost of old Tom Joad, with the ghost of old Tom Joad, with the ghost of old Tom Joad. That's my song. Oh, that's Bruce's song, Ghost of Tom Joad. That's my kind of secular Passover song for this year. Sang it, I don't know if I said this already, but we sang it at my house for the first night Seder, Saturday night, and then sang it at CRC at our community second Seder. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this. Let's see. Coming at you tomorrow night, And then Friday night, if you want to see the Omer count or if you want to do a communal Omer count, we're going to do that at services. So you can tune in to services. And then Saturday, I'll be with you again talking about matzah and why I and many, many, many Jews who continued to not eat chametz and ate matzah will stop that and we'll go back to chametz Saturday night, while other Jews will wait till Sunday night. So we'll tell that story. But I'm gonna maybe eat some bread on Saturday night as part of the Omer count. We'll see. Anyway, it's day 5 coming up. Day 5. It's Chod in Chesed. The whole idea of sort of what's the word? Humility in love. Being able to admit you're wrong and take a back seat sometimes and be willing to forgive and to see someone else's point of view, whether it's a friend or a spouse or any other relationship you have. The importance of humility in your love relationships. So there we go. That's something to reflect on and consider. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer. Blessed is the Holy One whose presence fills creation, from where we learn mitzvahs, sacred deeds that fill our lives with meaning and purpose, including this mitzvah for 50 days, 49 times of counting the days between Passover and Shavuot, this being day 5. And I hope that it's a good day 5, that there are holy moments in your day 5, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Shalom, everyone. Thank you.